Hello and welcome to Creating Social Strategies, the 4 keys to social media success for auto dealers. I'll be your host, David Johnson. I am the digital marketing strategist for PersuasiveConcepts.com and Next Generation Dealer Services. For those of you that have been to one of my seminars, you know that I take what you're about to learn in this short video and I go into depth. I spend 2 days on it. So if I miss anything, I certainly do apologize, but please feel free to contact me at david@persuasiveconcepts.com, or you go to my blog at persuasiveconcepts.com and use the contact me form above. Now let's go ahead and get right into it. First, I want you to get your thinking straight. Times are changing. Times have changed, and times will continue to change. I want you to keep in mind that car dealers no longer rule the roost. What I mean by that is they're no longer in charge of the whole process. The customer is. They are a new boss. How are you going to get along with them? The rules of the game have changed. One of the biggest rules is that we have to show them our hands. They see it all anyway. They know what's going on. And if we try to fight it, we're going to lose business. So instead of being the dealership that wants to fight change, that wants to say that no, this is not the way it's going to happen, or no, this is just a fad. Instead of doing that, be the dealership that embraces the change and starts working within the new rules. Now, keeping that in mind, let's go ahead and continue. And I want you to think that having a Facebook fan page or a Twitter account doesn't mean you're using social media the right way. What I mean by that is a lot of dealers only have a fan page or a Twitter account or any of these other social networks because they see everybody else doing it, and they're going about it completely wrong. They put the cart before the horse. Now that statement will make more sense in a couple of the future slides, but just keep in mind that just because you're on Facebook and Twitter doesn't mean you're using social media the right way. Keep in mind that all social media is a new way to use an old business tool. Think about it. Take away the technology aspect of it. Take away all the social platforms. Take away the internet. Take away the computer. What do you have left? People. People communicating with other people. So instead of the old way where you used to have to network one-on-one, now you can network 1 to 1,000, 1 to 1,000,000. That is what social media is all about. It's all about building relationships. Also, social networks are not a stand-in for traditional advertising. I've seen it way too many times, Twitter or liner ads, YouTube or commercials that you put on the television, and Facebook will be used as a place just to store your inventory. Don't do that. If you're doing that, people are seeing you as spam, and everything you're throwing up is not going to work anyway. It's just a waste of time. It's better not to use them at all. Now, before we get into the actual 4 steps, I want to talk about the 3 phases of dealer social maturity. Phase 1. Phase 1 is the platform-oriented dealership. They have no strategy. They put the cart before the horse. What I mean by that is, in the next slide, when we talk about the 4 steps, you'll see that choosing a platform is the 4th step, not the 1st. What they do is they let the platform dictate their strategy instead of the strategy dictating the platform. What that means is you're always thinking in terms of what Facebook or what Twitter or what YouTube can do for the dealership, instead of thinking about what kind of social strategies can I do to move my dealership to the next level. Now, for those dealerships that have a little bit of success with this, they go into phase 2, or what I call transitional. They have small amounts of success. They start thinking about a strategy, but use it kind of randomly. They're not using it 100% of the time. Now, those dealers who have a little bit of success doing that, and I must say that most dealerships stay at phase 1 or phase 2. Very rarely do you find a dealership that's in phase 3, because these are the dealerships that are highly successful. They implement the strategy 100% of the time, and this dealership even hires somebody to handle all of their social media tactics for them. They're the ones that work through the content strategy. They make sure the salespeople are engaging and doing what they're supposed to be doing, and this dealership is very, very, very highly successful. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Let's talk about the 4 steps. Now, first I'm going to go over them really quickly, and then we're going to get into them in a little more depth. First step is investigate. Second step is to define your objectives. Third step is to choose your actions. And the 4th step, which most dealerships use this as the first step or the only step, which is pick the platforms. Now let's go and talk about investigate a little bit. Investigate your market. Where are people hanging out? What are they saying? Are you noticing any trends? Make sure that you take really, really good notes in this section. The more the merrier. You want to know where they're spending most of their time. Take a look at Twitter. Take a look at Facebook. Take a look at other local forums. And what I mean by that is take a look at your local newspaper, your local radio station, other blogs. What's being said? What's talking about? How active are they? Keep in mind that the more people there are doesn't mean it's the best. You want to base this off of quantity. How are people engaging? But take notes. Figure out where people are and what they're talking about, and where the most of the people are hanging out. Please, please, please don't skip this step. A lot of people will think, I know my market. I know what's going on. No, you don't. You'll be surprised. Check it out. Figure out what's going on. Do not skip this step. We're going to use this later on, the notes you took during this step, so don't skip it. Step 2 is define your objectives. What do you want to accomplish? Do you want to have more lot traffic? Do you want to have more phone ups? Do you want to have more hits on your website? What are the objectives that you want to accomplish? What are you looking to do? Now, of course, some of you may be familiar with a SMART goal setting strategy. Now, this can be used the same way. SMART: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. So be as specific as possible with your objectives. Exactly what do you want to do? Now make sure that each objective is measurable. Make sure you align each objective with metrics so that you can figure out that when you reach your goal, you know when you've reached your goal. Attainable. Are your goals attainable? All right. Now don't just think these pie in the sky numbers. You want to be attainable. Do you have the right staff on hand? Do you need to hire somebody? Do you need help? Figure out if what you're talking about is attainable, and be realistic. Don't think that you're going to take over 75% of your market share when you only have 20% right now. And timely. Put a time frame on these objectives. When do you want them to be accomplished by? Now, I want you to keep in mind that high goals are frequently easier to achieve than lower ones because they exert a higher level of motivational force. What I mean by that is you do want to set high goals, one that's realistic and attainable, but you don't want to be too easy on yourself either. Step 3, choose actions. What are the actions you will be performing to meet your objectives? How are you going to build community? Will you be blogging? Will you be podcasting? Figure out what actions need to be accomplished in order to reach your objectives. Don't think in terms of platforms, because if you think in terms of how can I use Facebook to give me more traffic to my website, if you do that, you're limiting yourself. You are purposely putting yourself in a box. We always hear that we need to think outside the box, right? So let's think outside of Facebook. Will you be including social media with your offline advertising? Now, there are a lot of things you can do offline that have nothing to do with platforms. Well, they do and they don't. And what I mean by that, think about what Ford did. What Ford did with the Ford Fiesta movement. They did a lot of really neat stuff where they took in real quickly, they took 100 agents, gave them the Ford Fiesta for 6 months, and they gave them some missions and said, hey, have fun, create one video, create one blog post, post it, let's see what happens. Number 4, pick your platform. Number 4, pick your platform. Not number 1, not number 2, not number 3, but number 4. Don't put the cart before the horse. Choose your platforms last. Which platforms will aid you in completing your actions so that you can reach your objectives? Use the notes you took in step 1. Now, I told you they would be handy, and I told you not to skip step 1. So, remember, when you're choosing the platforms, choose which platforms you need to complete the actions so that you can reach your objectives. Now, there you have it, the four steps to creating a social media strategy. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me at david@persuasiveconcepts.com, or you can always check me out on my blog. I try to post as much stuff as possible. But if you have any questions, I am here to assist you in any way whatsoever. Thank you for watching the video. Talk to you soon.